The Pacific still slept, unaware that history was already taking aim. They joked of shore leave, of letters home, not knowing fate had launched. In that still sky, a swarm approached, precision forged from silence and steel. Too late to warn, too far to run, the storm was upon them. At 7:55 a.m., peace shattered, the ocean erupted into fire and screams. Steel split like paper, thousands vanished before their names could echo. The harbor turned into a graveyard, sunlight fractured through burning oil. Every knock was a prayer unanswered, every breath stolen by rising water. They could hear voices inside, fading, pleading, swallowed by smoke. America, once untouchable, now watched its pride sink beneath its own harbor. Across continents, a single signal arrived, the world had changed forever. He steadied his voice, the nation trembled, December 7th, a date of infamy. Mothers wept, factories stirred, and a sleeping giant began to stir awake. From ashes rose purpose, from humiliation, resolve stronger than armor. In weeks, the empire spread like flame, unstoppable, methodical, merciless. Each island fell like a domino, swallowed by the rhythm of conquest. He saw ruin, yet within it, the blueprint for a different kind of war. The carriers had survived, ghosts of steel ready to rewrite the ocean's fate. They would strike not for revenge alone, but to prove endurance still breathes. From beneath the soot of Pearl Harbor, a new war began to breathe. Across 10,000 miles of ocean, the rising sun burned without mercy. He was no fanatic, a scholar of war, haunted by inevitability. He knew America's might, its machines, its patience, its pride. He warned Tokyo, victory in 6 months, disaster after that. Industry strained to feed ambition, an empire forged in urgency. Confidence filled the seas, arrogance sailed beside every rising flag. From Burma to the Philippines, conquest became geography made real. While Japan celebrated, Nimitz planned, quietly, methodically, unbroken. In shadows, America's counterattack began not with guns, but with words. 2 letters puzzled him AF, a clue that could save thousands. At the same hour, across the sea, Yamamoto's shadow moved unseen. They read ghosts through noise, each signal a whisper of death. The trap was sprung, the hunters had become the hunted. He saw the pattern and placed faith in 3 fragile carriers. Yorktown returned half dead, and in 3 days, reborn to fight again. Every spark in that dockyard carried vengeance, patience, and faith. They listened, young faces hardened by the weight of impossible odds. 3 ships against 4 outnumbered, outgunned, yet not outwilled. Their destination, 6 square miles of coral, the hinge of the Pacific. The world held its breath, and the ocean waited to choose a victor. Beneath flickering lights, the battle for Midway began in whispers. A single code group repeated like a heartbeat beneath static. Information moved like ghosts across invisible oceans. Send the message, Midway reports water shortage. Let's see who listens. The enemy confirmed it, AF was Midway. The trap was set. Two storms moved toward each other, blind, precise, inevitable. He saw not numbers, but lives balancing on a single coordinate. Every wrench turn whispered promise and fear in equal measure. Yamamoto's armada moved like a blade through the sleeping sea. He believed surprise was his ally, unaware it was already gone. A flicker on the screen, the first heartbeat of battle. The island braced itself, 6 miles of coral against a storm. They knew their odds, yet none looked back toward home. Dawn broke, calm and merciless, over to fleets searching for each other. Eyes of the fleets, flying far ahead of fate's horizon. The signal leapt across the Pacific, and time itself began to race. He didn't smile, didn't speak, he simply said, proceed. Delay, hesitation, pride, 3 seconds that would rewrite the war. Fate stacked like dual drums, one spark away from disaster. Above the clouds, deliverance dived, unseen, unopposed, unstoppable. Above endless blue, courage dove headfirst into chaos and fire. No thought of return, only a target framed in trembling hands. Gravity carried more than steel, it carried every fallen name. One strike found its mark, and the Empire's pride erupted in flame. On deck they fought not enemies, but the fury of their own hubris. A symphony of destruction played across for burning decks. In minutes, Japan's invincible armada became floating pyres. He spoke few words, the ocean was already speaking for him. Heroes returned as ghosts, their machines stitched together by will. Pride burned faster than steel, command melted into despair. He knew the prophecy fulfilled, 6 months of victory, then ruin. For the first time since Pearl Harbor, the tide turned westward. Victory floated on wrecks, soaked in salt, blood, and disbelief. Even the victors pitied the silence left behind by defeat. For mighty dragons of the rising sun sank beneath their own fire. They had held the line, a speck of coral defying an empire. Some came home, others lived on only in the silence between cheers. The sea swallowed the evidence, leaving only oil and memory. He understood, this was not the end, only the beginning of balance. 3 minutes of courage rewrote the course of the Pacific War. The ocean was quiet again, yet beneath it lay the bones of empires. Once invincible steel now served as coral for unborn generations. Faces young and endless stared back, their silence louder than victory. News traveled home wrapped in paper, soaked with unseen tears. A wounded nation exhaled, hope sounded like static and breath. For the first time, the rising sun hesitated upon the map. He looked east, knowing destiny had already chosen another tide. In Detroit, in Seattle, in silence, the future was being built. They had won a battle without firing a single round. A tiny island became legend, its sands carrying echoes of fire. He remembered faces, not battles, laughter, not orders. Time had turned wreckage into gardens, destruction into memory. Men of war, bound by duty, remembered for choices, not victories. The Pacific slept again, but it would never dream the same. From ruin rose resolve, humanity learned to build, not to burn. Time folded, and the boy he was still stood on that deck. Millions gone, yet their light remained stitched across the heavens. 3 minutes changed the war, courage changed the world. Even in silence, the fallen still guard the ocean they loved. The sea remembers everything, the fear, the fire, and the peace that followed.